We welcome you into the Small Ball Podcast. I'm surrounded by two married men. I've got our special guest, Kyle. Kyle, welcome to the show. And of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Christian Dennis is here. I'm Scott Ayers. We've got producer Andy behind the scenes. Trevor Mickulin is gone. He is in Indonesia. Whoa. Yeah, so we flew someone else into the show. Kyle, reoccurring guest. Welcome. Kyle, how are you?
I'm good. I thought the flights were going to be covered by the Small Ball Pod, but
Nope.
guess not. But
No, we don't do that.
Scott, it's good to see you.
What about me? Is it good to see me?
It's good to see you, but Scott and I, we had a little bit of beef, and quite frankly, I didn't want to see you for a really long time. So I want to see you a lot.
Okay.
But Scott, not so much. But it's good to see you. It's good to be back on the pod, and it's a new season. 0-0. We are tied for first place.
We are all tied.
We're all tied right now. And for listeners, when we had Kyle on the show last year, around this time, and we were doing kind of deep dives into each team, and we got into a heated argument between the Nuggets and the Suns. Who were the better players? Who was the better team? And frankly, I didn't know how either team would prove which team was better until they met in the playoffs. Great series, went 6 games. Suns fired their coach. Nuggets won a title, and here we are.
Suns also traded like their entire team away. So new owner as well. A lot has changed.
As I said, new season. Really excited for the new season. I'm a future-oriented type of guy, so I'm just focused on this season.
I heard it was such a big playoff win for the Nuggets that it made you have to focus on something else, so you went and got married.
I got married. I don't think that solved anything, though. I'm still really sad, unfortunately. My wife is in the audience, but, we're doing all right.
She just poked her head in. That is a sign of a good sports fan right there, Kyle. Well, it's great to have you on the show. We've got a lot to talk about. It was media day today in the NBA, guys, and frankly, we got a lot of sound bites, but I think first, before we talk about media day, we should talk about obviously the trade for Damian Lillard to Milwaukee, but now Drew Holiday is a Boston Celtic.
Yeah, so a lot has happened since the last time we recorded. Dame to Milwaukee, I think let's just start there. Plain and simple. Our small market, I guess, poster child.
Yeah.
The perfect small market team, the Milwaukee Bucks, just added one of the most elite shooters of all time to their team to team up with Giannis. Chris Middleton is another year away from his injury, so he's healthy. Brook Lopez is really old, but he's still good.
Yep. Old man Lopez.
Splash Mountain.
Yep.
So we have, potentially the title contender outside of the Nuggets.
Thank you.
The new runner-up.
Yeah.
Which a Bucks Nuggets championship would be electric for a small market. And it's just really exciting to see that duo. I think that's going to be one of the most fun duos that we'll see this year. And if not, it's probably the most perfect pairing of a duo since, Jordan and Pippen, Kobe and Shaq.
Especially when you have two guys who are top 10 players in the league. Dame is now kind of more on that fringe aspect just because he's getting a little bit older, but it's still Damian Lillard. I think it'll take a little bit of time for them to figure it out, but that pick and roll game is going to be nasty. And then on top of that, when you get to the playoffs, Giannis, especially against the Miami Heat, their offense was so stagnant at times. You could tell Giannis was dealing with a little bit of something, but Drew, Chris Middleton, they weren't really the big shot guys. Damian Lillard is probably the number 2 big shot guy right next to Steph Curry. So you add a guy like that in an East that doesn't have the same amount of talent, and Milwaukee now is once again the front runner to be the team in the East.
Yeah, I love the fit in Milwaukee. I think the whole time we were hearing the Heat were going to be where there's no other team other than the Heat that's going to get Dame, right? And that fit would have been interesting, but I think when I saw it to Milwaukee, that's insane, right? That team was already super good, and Drew Holiday is very good for his role, but that team needs, I guess, a Dame, and they went out and got it. And that's a really, really good move for them. I don't know much about their depth, but their starting five is probably one of the best starting fives in the league, especially with Giannis, how he just is such a bulldog down low, and you have to pay attention to him, obviously, and that frees up the shooters on the outside. And I just think it's a great fit for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Andy, I see you raise your hand back there.
Yeah. Okay. So I think, I'm really appreciative of Portland listening to the pod and our comments and keeping Dame within another small market.
It's a respect thing.
Yeah. Oh, really respect the Portland Trailblazers for that. Strong listeners of the show. Really appreciate that they recognized our needs.
No, they absolutely did. And we can also briefly talk about how Miami absolutely fumbled another potential superstar trade. Kyle, we were talking before the show, and there was a graphic of like 8 to 10 players that Miami was rumored to get. And obviously they made it to the NBA Finals this last year. But it was pretty apparent in that finals appearance, they don't have the star power to get over the edge. It was proven in the bubble. It was proven again once they lost to Denver. And now it's like, all you're going to offer is Tyler Hero and a couple of picks. And maybe they just don't have the players to trade because they didn't sign anyone this offseason. But this just adds to the absolute failure of an offseason the Miami Heat had.
Hey, man, it's Heat culture, I've been on this pod several times saying that Heat culture's a bunch of baloney. Obviously, they're a really good organization, great team. They've gone to the finals. But, I mean, from what I can see, Heat culture is just, hey, let's just try to be as cheap as possible and, really kind of build up our organization through, guys who are in the G League and undrafted, which is great. But like you said, they just lack that star power. They lack that elite scorer. Jimmy Butler is insane. We all know that. He possibly is Michael Jordan's son. I mean,
we don't know.
Rumors has it.
We don't know.
And then Bam is a really good center, really good defensive player, but he doesn't have that offensive tenacity, I guess, to go out there and I'm going to, go dunk on you. I'm going to drop, 30 on you. He has that ability, but that's just not the type of player he is.
Right.
And they need that elite killer. They don't have any of those guys other than Jimmy. And Jimmy, it's same as the bubble. In the finals, Jimmy was just exhausted.
Yeah.
There's not much that man can do. He just needs help.
Yeah, and it was pretty apparent. I mean, they were also banking off of great performances from Gabe Vincent and Caleb Martin, Kyle Lowry, and an older Kevin Love, and that catches up to you. You can keep that up for a little bit of time, especially depending on matchups, right? They obviously had a great upset over Milwaukee where everyone played well. Then you got the Knicks, and then you held on against Boston when you go up 3-0. But they lose a lot of guys in free agency. They don't get Dame Lillard. Now they look at the rest of the East, and it's like, I don't know how they can kind of get over that hump again.
Also, losing Udonis Haslem, that's going to hurt big time. Locker room guy, would fight probably anyone in the world and win to this day. So I think that's the biggest loss for them. But like you said, there's just been fumble after fumble about these big guys, right? And there's a list like I was talking about, but I think Dame literally publicly saying, I'm only going to play for the Heat, and the Heat just couldn't get it done, is disappointing for them. So we'll see what happens, but I just feel like it's the same team every year and most likely the same result as it's been the last 3 years.
Yeah, so we might as well pencil them in for a finals loss.
Yeah, literally. No kidding. Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, on the flip end, Milwaukee, Giannis is like, I just want to play where I have the best chance to win a championship. Ownership and front office hear that, all right, we're going to get Damian Lillard for you. How does that sound? So, pretty impressive. Let's talk about the other part of the trade. Kyle, this is where you come in. This is great. Suns expert, Kyle. Yusuf Nurkic is now a Phoenix Sun. DeAndre Ayton, he heads out to Portland. You also got, obviously, the great Grayson Allen and Nasir Little. Kind of thoughts on this haul for the Phoenix Suns?
Meh. A big meh. Like, their whole offseason, honestly, I'm not that big of a fan of our moves that we've been making. I understand where we're going, and at the time I was very upset losing Ayton. That's a big loss, obviously. But I do think Nurk is a better fit for our team. A big body down low, is all about just posting up, can shoot a little bit. He's going to be a double-double machine if he's healthy. That's a huge if. But Ayton, I mean, as a Suns fan, it's been so frustrating. You know, I think he was on year 5, and it seemed like every year we've talked about, all right, he's going to make the jump this year. He's going to make the jump this year. He's going to be Dominayton, as he is the only one in the world who calls himself
He's
that.
Dominayton.
But it just kept happening, you know. The effort wasn't there. The heart wasn't there. And I was telling you guys before the show, he'll say everything right in the media. Like, I'm sure Blazers fans are loving what they're hearing about, man, I got no fans. It's all haters. I'm going to prove everyone wrong. That's awesome, man. But when the ball goes up and you're the one who's having people box you out and just dominate you, it's just frustrating. But back on the Suns, we'll see, man. I think it's a weird roster. It's a weird makeup, but I am interested with Frank Vogel. We have a lot of offensive guys, obviously a lot of shooters, a lot of star power, but Frank Vogel being a defensive-minded head coach, I think is good. With Nurk, I just really hope he stays healthy. That's the biggest thing with him. I really like the fit. I like the player for our team. He just needs to stay healthy, which is, again, a big, big if.
Do you actually like Nurk or actually think he's a good fit, or did you just talk yourself into that since the trade happened?
Good question.
So in 2K, yes, I love Nurk. I love Nurk in 2K. Right?
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Post them up, rebounds, double-double machine. In real life, we'll see. I mean, I like I said, I just think a big body down low, like it's such a weird thing to say, but Suns Twitter, the guy that we've always like wanted and would be perfect for our team is Jonas Valanciunas. I think Nurk is a poor man's Jonas Valanciunas. Again, a weird player to be like, we need to get this guy, but a big body down low. Ayton just got soft and effort wasn't there, but Nurk, you know, he has a little bit of dog in him. So we need that.
Could you say, too, like, relations maybe weren't the best, too, between Ayton and maybe front office or some of the guys on the team as well?
Absolutely. There's been a lot going around that. I mean, I will say, having Booker, Chris Paul, Kevin Durant on your team, and they're great, and it's like, hey, dude, we need you to get 10 rebounds, no questions asked. And if he doesn't get that, then the whole locker room's against you. That could be frustrating. So I think he thought he was undervalued. I think the team expected way more from him as a number 1 pick, as just his makeup of who he is. So honestly, I think Portland will be good for him. That team is young. They are going to look to him a lot. And obviously expectations are high, but it's not like Kevin Durant and Chris Paul are bullying you in the locker room as they did in Phoenix.
Yeah, I almost feel bad for Ayton in Phoenix just because, you know, since he went number 1 in that draft, he was never going to live up to Luka's hype. And I feel like there's always going to be, you know, Suns, the organizations be like, dang, we should have drafted Luka. And I've even heard Suns fans say like, no, Ayton was the right choice. And that's solely because they've bought into Ayton and they talked themselves into Ayton. I mean, if you redraft that 100% times, you're drafting Luka. And Luka and Devin Booker would be an awesome duo. But
that'd be crazy.
That's just not the case. So the fact that Ayton is now gone onto his next team, he's in a smaller market than Phoenix.
We embrace him.
And he's on a young team now, so there's really no expectations for him. So maybe we do see Dominayton.
I would be shocked. I think he'll be fine. I think Portland will probably like him just because, again, of his youth and the fit on the team. But again, I don't know. I don't see him being a top 5 center in the league, which I've called him before. on this show, which I regret every day
that
of
was
my life.
pain. That was pain. I'm just gonna kind of interlude and talk right now because the camera battery it's getting switched out. So for those that are listening on Spotify, you made a good choice. Think of this as like a little extra for you because YouTube fans, I mean, they can't see anything right now. It's just
they have
black
no
screen.
idea. They think we're just continuing our conversation. It's going to pick up right where Kyle left off.
Which is pretty incredible. I mean, that's the beauty of technology.
Yeah,
at its
they're
finest.
YouTube watchers are going to be such bozos because they're going to think nothing happened.
They have no idea. But for you Spotify listeners, this is for you. This, like, 8 of you.
Yeah.
10.
I don't know. I think we've been gaining some traction. I have people coming up to me like, hey, I listen to the pod now. I'm like, sick.
Dude, someone at our church. Michigan fans went to Purdue. He's the roofing
Oh,
company.
Mike, yeah.
Mike, yeah.
You met Mike?
I met Mike.
No way.
Yeah. And was that his wife? Are they married?
Yes,
Girlfriend?
Mike and Haley.
Mike and Haley met him. Really kind. And he goes,
Yeah.
I go, oh, hey, it's nice to meet you. He goes, oh, yeah, heard the podcast. I go, this is the greatest news of my life.
He's an avid listener.
Yeah.
He's
No.
probably listening. This comes out on a Tuesday. He's probably listening on Tuesday.
Well, thank you. I have to say, Mike, great guy.
yeah, great
10
guy.
out of 10 guy.
I believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. Andy, how's the camera looking? Oh, all right. We're back.
We're back.
Yeah. So,
Aiden.
anyways, and action. Yeah. So, anyways, the one thing too with Nurk is they keep talking about like his. I just don't know how good of a defender he actually is. And granted, the only sets I've seen are against Jokic, which that's not necessarily fair. But it's like in his last like 8 matchups, it's like Jokic is averaging 34, 10 and 8 or something crazy like that. But Nurkic isn't a bad player. I just keep hearing like he's going to be the Jokic stopper. I'm like, you can't stop Jokic, 1. But 2, Jokic has his way with him, like he does with everyone.
And something, too, that a lot of Suns fans kind of cooled off and realize is that, in a way, you know what you're going to get from Nurk every single night. You know what you're going to get. Most of the time, hopefully, a double-double. He's not afraid to bruise down low, right? With Ayton, I mean, there'd be times, I mean, very rarely, but he would go 20 and 20.
Yes.
But in the NBA Finals, there was real talks about us starting Jock Landale over him again because he just can't. He's just so inconsistent, and then he gets all pouty in his head, and I don't want to play hard. So we know what we're going to get from Nurk, and I think at the end of it, that's what we needed is like we need a consistent, I don't care if it's 10 and 10. Like, obviously, I'd want it more, but we know what we're going to get from Nurk every night, and he's a team player, and he seems like he's all about it. So I am just talking myself into liking this trade, though.
have
But
you are.
Yeah,
This is your therapy session.
yes.
Yeah, but the thing is, the Suns, what you need from your center is to grab rebounds. You don't need them to be a scorer because you have scorers all over the court. So that's going to be, I feel like, an interesting storyline going into the season because the Suns, they have to be a front runner. And I hate the phrase title or bust, but this is a title or bust roster. You don't get Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and now Bradley Beal, and of course Nurkic, to be to be a second round exit, to be a Western Conference final exit. You get those guys to win an NBA title, and I feel like if the Suns don't reach that mark, it's a failure of a season.
I mean, that's the goal, man. That is the goal. We are definitely pushing all of our chips in. Ishbia, our new owner, has been such a fun owner to watch because he even on Media Day today said, you know, you always see that question all the time on Twitter, who would you build your roster around if you were president of the team? He's like, I did that, and I chose Devin Booker, and look at what I'm building around him.
That was a sick comment.
So it's cool to see that the owner's all in and, again, pushing his chips in. It's fun for the fans, and we're excited for the season, but I think we're a little scared after the disappointment the last couple of years. But, I mean, all those people on our team, like I keep reminding myself, oh, yeah, Devin Booker is our guy. Oh, yeah, we have Kevin Durant on our team. And by the way, Bradley Beal is our 3rd best player. So obviously really exciting. Obviously big names. The fit is going to be interesting, but I'm excited to see what Vogel does with it. I'm excited to see our roster and starters, depth, bench. I just want to see how it all works out. Then come playoff time, just
Piece
it together and pull it out.
You're doing what?
Go Suns in 4, piece together.
Yeah, Do you think Kevin Durant's regressing after that second round appearance?
I think when we got him, it was a weird time, and right when we got him, he got injured too, so he didn't really get that much playing time with our team. Didn't get a lot of runs with it, and then when he did, it was kind of like, boom, you're in the playoffs, right? So it wasn't the Kevin Durant that all the Suns were really looking forward to, for sure. Me and Scott talked a lot about that, but I think a full off season, a whole new coaching staff, everyone's learning this offense. And not that he needs pressure off of him because it's Kevin Durant, but with Bradley Beal, Booker, they need to focus on those guys. So there's going to be a lot of one-on-one matchups, and we'll see. But I know what people say and like what they saw in that, but I think it's still Kevin Durant, and he's still one of the best scorers on the planet.
Good answer. All right, well, let's jump into media day. Right, guys?
Well, we want to talk about, I know we talked about Ayton a little bit in Portland, but I think we should touch about Portland real quick.
Right, I like it. Sorry, I got ahead of myself, Christian.
Yeah,
I was just so lost in Kyle's eyes. I forgot about Portland.
Yeah, I mean, Portland, I think a lot of people were kind of upset with how they were handling the Dame trade thing. But in all honesty, I really like what they did. Dame saying, I want to go to Miami. He also said, if I get traded to another team, I'm going to request a trade to Miami. That was all baloney. That was never going to happen. And I like how, Portland, Joe Cronin said, he didn't say it, but he essentially was like, yeah, I'll talk to Miami. I'll listen to their offer. Their offer wasn't that good. So I'm going to do what's best for the organization. The organization does not owe Dame anything. They have paid Dame all the money that they could possibly pay him. That's it. Dame, you don't get anything else. You don't decide where to go. You don't have a no trade clause. So what Joe Cronin did is he listened to other options and he made a trade that was best for Portland. Trade, and he also did right to Dame. I mean, it's not like we sent Dame to Charlotte. We sent Dame to Milwaukee to where he could play with Giannis, who he's openly said he wanted to play with before in the past. And he got traded to a contender as well. Getting back Drew Holiday in that trade was a nice piece because they were able to flip it, right? And, they flipped Drew to Boston, which I don't really want to talk much about Boston because we
Bozos.
Yeah. But that is the worst case scenario for the Bucks. Just a side note there.
Yeah, I agree.
And I feel like they probably had some thoughts that could potentially happen. But Drew to Boston's awesome. Good for them. But getting back Malcolm Brogdon, some more picks, and Robert Williams is a nice return because now they're going to flip Brogdon again. It's just going to, whoever
Probably
they get.
Williams, right?
I don't think so.
Really?
From what I've been hearing.
I think they said they want to hang on to him, but it's going to be a weird, people said he may play the 4, which he's the size for it, but I don't really see him as a 4. It will be interesting for sure.
Yeah, which
wow.
That would be really interesting to have Robert Williams and Ayton on the floor together. But I feel like Ayton's always been kind of wanting to shoot outside. He doesn't want to bang in the post. So then let Robert Williams kind of, throw his body around and bruise with the big centers and let Ayton kind of float around and, shoot outside jumpers. But acquiring those two guys, 2 young assets with picks on top of the roster that Portland has, I don't think Portland will be very good of a team, but they're going to be really fun.
Frisky.
Scoot Henderson he's legit and he's coming in. He has his own shoe deal. I don't know if you guys know this. He's one of 7 players in NBA history to come in with his own shoe. He has a signature shoe with Puma. Which we know
the way
how
to do it.
We know how Puma shoes are, but it's Scoot, you have Shaden Sharp, Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant is still on the team. You got now Robert Williams and Ayton. That's a solid 6 players right there. And then whoever you get for Brogdon, whether it's picks or maybe another young asset somewhere. I just really like how Portland's handled this. And as a Portland fan, yes, it's sad to see Dame go because he's the best Blazer in history. But this is exciting. It's a new era of basketball. You weren't getting anywhere with Dame. In fact, you can make the argument this is probably one of the best teams that they've ever constructed, and it's just without Dame.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a shame that the construction around Dame just was never at a great point. Like, his two biggest sidekicks were CJ McCollum and Yusuf Nurkic. And that's not enough. That's just not enough to win a championship when you have Damian Lillard, who is a championship caliber player. Honestly, the one thing that stinks for Portland is the Jeremy Grant contract because they just signed and paid him. So maybe he stays in Portland for those 4 years. Maybe they look to try to move him at some point, but you're going to have to probably eat some of that money if you do want to trade him. But that's such a minor thing compared to, hey, we have a lot of young guys that we think are going to be awesome. And some guys we already know. Anthony is awesome. So now it's just like, all right, let's start building our roster and let's see what we can build. So it's definitely an exciting time in Portland.
It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, the roster makeup is obviously really young, fast, and fun for sure. Don't know if Chauncey's the right guy for the job to stick with them and build them up. But do you guys think it's going to be Scoot, Simons, Grant, Williams, Ayton as the 5, or would they just start the 3 guards and put Shannon in there? I don't know. That's the thing where it's going to be interesting to see if they hang on to Williams, if he starts. What you're saying about Ayton, he's always wanted to be that scorer, and even when he was in college, he wanted to play the 4. But the coach, everyone's kind of like, you're not a 4, dude.
You're a center.
Yeah, he may get that opportunity now. Honestly, he may get that opportunity to space the floor a little bit. His mid-range game is pretty good.
Yeah.
So what I think will be cool too is that this first season, obviously they're not that they're tanking or anything like that, but they're going to be experimenting a lot, right? Scoot, you're our guy. Let's see what you got. Ayton, you want to score? You want to be dominating? Here is your time to show it, rather than when he was on the Suns and we're in Game 6 of the finals, or Game 6 of the playoffs when we lost to Denver. But it's just going to be interesting to watch them progress and, again, experiment and see what they got and then build from there.
You know what kind of makes me think of is even like the Orlando Magic from even a year or two ago, where you have a bunch of young, talented players, and you mentioned that kind of that experimental phase where they could actually be fairly big too. If you go Jeremy Grant, Rob Williams, and Ayton, that's a fairly big and talented front court that could give teams issues. And then you just have a bunch of young guards. So that could be a play for Portland while they experiment to see, hey, here's what's sticking. Here's something we need to move on from.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like the idea of trying that out. And you can always default and go with, Shaedon Sharpe as your 3, which I think that's a question for me. Is Sharpe more of a shooting guard, or is he more of a small forward? I mean, to me, he seems like he's more of a shooting guard. So then that causes, Anthony and Scoot, what are you doing, kind of thing like that. So I feel like between those 3 guards, you're going to see a lot of staggered minutes because Anthony can run point. So if Scoot goes out, Anthony moves to the point, and then Shaedon could be the 2. But the idea of having a big front court with Ayton, Robert Williams, and Grant, that sounds really interesting to me.
I love it. And especially you need some outside shooting, and I think Grant can provide that because just as an example, that's what Denver did, and that's where they had a lot of success. Is MPJ is 6'10", Aaron Gordon is around that height, and Nikola Jokic is 6'11", and Jokic and MPJ can both shoot. So if Portland can get that same, and it's obviously a little bit apples to oranges, but still to get that kind of outside production from Grant and Ayton while having those guards, that could be a lot of fun.
It'll be fun to see. Cleveland did it too when marketing was starting at the 3. And so I think, again, experiment, see what's going on, see where it fits best, and then kind of this season do that, and then the off season with all your picks, with all your money that you're going to be saving, go spend a little bit on depth, or this did not work out, let's try to trade Grant or something like that. So as long as Portland is committed to not in a way a rebuild, but not like a full on rebuild, trade everyone. But as long as they're committed to the process, then I think it could be pretty interesting in a couple of years for sure with these young guys progressing.
I like that a lot. Yeah. Really quick, don't want to talk about them much. Other big loser of all this, probably the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yes.
Massive losers. They don't get Drew Holiday. James Harden wants out. Your two biggest rivals in the East are way better than you.
But Joel Embiid said, who said they passed us?
Everyone. Basketball fans. Me.
Yes, this podcast. Well, here's the thing. They didn't pass them because they were like already ahead of them.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Fair point.
No one passed them because they were already behind.
Yeah. Yeah,
Imagine
exactly.
a media member said, like, you guys were already behind. Like, and you'd be like, what?
Gosh, that would be great because, like, what are you talking about? Like, these teams are better than you. You prove that in the playoffs. But, yeah, I just figured it was important to get in that small punch to Philly as in.
We love throwing our small punches at Philly.
Yes. Just the doinkiest of punches. It's like a pebble hitting a sheet of armor. But we're going to keep throwing our pebbles.
Yeah, we are.
Let's go on a media day. We got some interesting stuff. Obviously, the Embiid quote. We also saw the Hornets. They've got a new jersey sponsor. And it's Mr. Beast and his company Feastables, right?
Yeah.
I think this is... I saw some people like, oh, poverty franchise. I'm like, this seems like actually a really cool collab. Something that we've never seen in sports really at all.
Yeah, this is really cool just because Mr. Beast is from North Carolina and he's able to kind of advertise and support his local NBA team, which I think is really cool. And plus, it's like all the memes and stuff from it, like it is great. I mean, just like I saw it was like a thumbnail and it's Mr. Beast and it's like the Hornets versus not committing a crime. And so it's just like it's already starting off like just a really funny note. But it is cool to see the very first YouTuber influencer advertisement on an NBA jersey.
Something that I didn't even think about until right now. What he's doing is awesome because how many billion fans, subscribers he has. If he himself, which I'm sure he will now, be promoting the Hornets and all that stuff, he just got all those fans. It's kind of like Taylor Swift with like the NFL and the Chiefs.
Good call.
How many more Chiefs fans are there now? How many more Travis Kelce fans are they now, right? How many more Hornets fans did they just get today? And again, the smart man that Mr. Beast is, I'm sure he's going to be promoting that a lot. Giveaways to games, all that stuff. I think it's a really smart move for both sides, and no matter what, it got publicity, and I think it's going to end up being good publicity then. What are they doing? You know, poverty franchise. I think it's a smart move, and again, it just gets the Hornets way more fans for sure.
That is a great...
I just thought about it.
That was incredible.
Just thought about it right now.
Right off the dome.
Just right now. Thought about it right now.
Incredible.
Right now, yeah.
Oh,
Guest star.
make two fans stand in a square for 12 hours. Now they do that. Signed jersey from LaMelo Ball.
Whoa.
Could happen.
How's that?
That's kind of sick. I want to see some Hornets player in Mr. Beast challenge. Like let's say he recreates Squid Games. I want to see Terry Rozier running the course, trying to be that winner.
Bro, I feel like LaMelo Ball would be like all in for that.
Oh, yeah.
He'd be clowning the whole time.
Kai Jones?
I bet you LaMelo is a follower. Like he subscribed to his channel and he like either reached out to the Hornets PR or reached out to Mr. Beast himself and said, "Hey, why don't you sponsor us?"
I don't know if that happened, but maybe.
That's
cool.
my dream scenario.
That's my dream. But yeah, I mean...
Sounds like a 2K like storyline, but I like it.
Oh, Andy.
The reality is probably like the owner's kid is like just obsessed with Mr. Beast, and so
Probably.
that's like his biggest way in to meet Mr. Beast.
Gosh.
Honestly, big flex.
Big flex.
It would be sick.
Dude, yeah, I love that. Other big quotes. Anthony Davis said, him and LeBron heard what the Nuggets were saying. We see that you guys won, but LeBron and I have been talking. We can't wait to play them.
Hey,
Congrats,
AD.
Anthony Davis.
AD, that's great, man.
Happy for you.
Really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
Are you excited to play anyone else? I mean, that's the champion. Of course you're excited.
Will he play? Will he play?
Well, he allegedly said he's going to play all 82 games, which he's on my fantasy basketball team, and I'm all for it. I want to see the Lakers lose, but I want to see 80's personal stats succeed.
Yeah. And here's the thing. You know why the Nuggets are probably talking? Like, the only time you can talk is when you win a championship. That's what they did. Bruce Brown called D'Lo a traffic cone, and he backed it up. They walk the walk and talk the talk. Like, you can't come out and say that now. It's like, you got swept. It's over.
Hey, D'Lo's getting shots up right now, though.
Yes. That's probably one of the best memes of all.
I do hear dribbling outside. It could be D'Lo.
It's probably D'Lo.
Any other big media day comments? Oh, Andy.
I don't think this was media day, but it was like last week. Kyrie was saying to like the Mavs media and saying like how he wished he could have been drafted to the Mavericks.
Oh,
and
yeah.
how amazing of an organization. I just think it's funny how he's like continuing to like love bomb the organization and just be like toxic. Like in about like 4 months, he's gonna have a blow up and he's just gonna get super toxic with the Mavericks and then just like request a trade.
That's
or
the
something.
end.
Like, yeah, like this happens with every single team he's on. He says like, hey, I'm happy to be here. Wish I was here the whole time. You know, love this place more than anything. I want to re-sign. And then like 6-8 months later, it's just a mess.
You have to admit, though, Kyrie Irving, in all the franchises that he's been in, he said something different every time.
Yeah.
It's not like he's going around saying like, man, I wish I was drafted by the Celtics. I love it here. Or like, man, I wish I was drafted by the Nets. Like he made up different rumors every time.
It's a new story.
Yeah.
Which is just kudos to him for the creativity with all this love.
Way to be original.
It's a pro move. It's like
Hella.
Yeah. It's like start a new relationship and you've got to impress the significant other. It's like, well, let me go into the data banks and think of something that she's never heard before.
Yeah. There's I wanted to talk about two teams in particular. First, I'll go more positive route.
Like it?
The San Antonio Spurs. You know, obviously with Victor, that's like the number one name everyone wants to see from this rookie class. And just seeing him with his teammates and his uniform is just really cool. You know, I saw a picture. It was like him next to Rachel Demita, you know.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, the old 2K girl. And it was just like wild to see. I think she said she's like 5'8" and he's like 7'3". And just see the difference between the two is just like, this is a specimen. Like, holy crap, this guy is tall. And like, I don't think we realize how tall he is because we see him on TV and like everyone's like of similar height. Like all these guys are ginormous people. But to just see him in that kind of setting where he's even standing next to like Jeremy Sohan and he's just like towering over him. But I also want to throw out to the Spurs too that they gave an extension to Devin Vassell.
Big time.
Which I like Devin Vassell a lot. I think he's a really good young player. He had a lot of injuries last year, which kind of hindered him from playing, which is kind of a bummer. But I think he's going to be a pretty solid piece next to Victor. I mean, I've said, last week that I think he could potentially be most improved player just because everyone's going to be focused on Victor, that he has, you know, the ability to kind of work, do some off-ball cutting, you know, create his own shot, good three-point shooter. So just really excited to see kind of what the Spurs are going to be like this year.
Devin Vassell podcast. That's all I've got to say.
I think too, it's a perfect situation for Victor to go into a really, really respected franchise. Obviously, Coach Pop is there. I think it's great too because it's going to be a huge kind of weight off of Pop's back. He had some really, really bad teams for the past 4 years. So I'm sure there was a point where he was like, all right, like I can't really do this anymore. So this getting Victor, all these young guys progressing, I think it's just going to spark enthusiasm in him and hopefully prolong his career another 5-10 years. We'll see. But I think he was getting tired for sure. And I think this is perfect for him to rejuvenate the franchise.
Yeah. Christian, what's your second team?
Another team I wanted to bring up was the Toronto Raptors.
Oh, yeah.
That place looks miserable. You see Masai Ujiri talking about how, our team needs to be unselfish. And then you have Pascal Siakam saying, I am not a selfish player at all. You have Scotty Barnes was frustrated with the team. OG Anunoby's like, I love Toronto. I want to be here. And then their new coach, Marco, was like, yeah, Pascal Siakam's double teamed a lot. So that means that someone's open. So we're going to do whatever we can to make sure he passes it to the right person. So a lot of just like mixed conversations going on. It didn't seem like anyone was really aligned with what is going on in Toronto.
Dude, what a disaster. Yeah, and Scotty, his quote was like, sometimes you just feel like you have to, everyone's out there for themselves or something like that. That's paraphrasing, but it's like, man, this is not good. And listen, this isn't necessarily a Raptors podcast.
They are allegedly a big market.
They're allegedly a big market. They were not happy with us, Kyle, when we tried to involve them in the small market kingdom. And you know what happens ever since then? They've been a dumpster fire. They have been an absolute dumpster fire with no direction. And to this point, I have no idea what their goals are as a team. Can't be a championship.
It's really weird. I mean, for the past 3 years, OG Anunoby's been in trade talks. Siakam has been. I think a rebuild's on the horizon with them. I don't know. I mean, like we just said, I don't know. It's weird. It's no direction. There's talks like what they're saying. It's just I wouldn't want to be a Raptors fan right now.
It honestly, I think I even saw a report that like Pascal Siakam's not really considering an extension at this point. Which like if he's available for the trade market, I mean, obviously there's going to be people waiting, knocking on the doors. Miami Heat's probably going to be involved there, but they probably won't get him.
No. Do you want Kyle Lowry in a second?
And
Heat culture.
Heat culture.
This is a heat culture move.
And so it's like the fact that, they lost Fred VanVleet for nothing. Raptors fans will go on record saying like, oh, we hated Fred. Like Fred is like garbage. Like we're going to be better with Dennis Schroeder, all this stuff.
FIBA MVP.
Yeah, FIBA MVP, which, Dennis Schroeder.
I forgot he's on the Raptors.
Yeah,
that's
he
crazy.
signed a 1-year deal.
Okay.
So maybe they'll lock him up for a little bit longer. Who knows? But, when you start losing assets
for nothing,
that's when it's like, wait, we need to do some reevaluating. Like, yes, you won a championship with Kawhi, and then he left. And then now Fred VanVleet, who has value in this league, he leaves for nothing. And it's like, are we going to watch them do that with Siakam, or are they going to trade Siakam?
Yeah, it's been a pretty gross mishandling of post-championship and a lot of things of what not to do. Because I think after you win a championship, the evaluation is, hey, can we do this again and how? And they really didn't do anything because they lost Kawhi, which I think a lot of us expected that. And that's not necessarily on Toronto because they went and got him. And they made that gamble and it paid off. But after that, it's like, hey, we need to figure out how we can restructure this to be competitive and be a team that can compete for a championship, or we tear it down and build a foundation that can make us competitive again. They didn't do either of those things. They stayed in purgatory, which is why now we're seeing these guys leave for nothing. And then their fans go on record and be like, no, we actually didn't like Fred. I'm like, you didn't like one of the only guys who could actually score on your team? Like, what are we talking about? That is ridiculous.
It's a weird spot for them to be in. Like I said, I think after this year and after this even trade deadline, they may blow it up and kind of start fresh with Scotty and just build from there. I don't know what their cap situation looks like. I don't know anything really about them because there's not really any news about them other than people leaving. Yeah. I just found out that Dennis Schroeder's their starting point guard. I actually kind of like that for them. But anyway, other than that, I think it's all downhill.
I'm glad you brought up the Raptors. That was a good 1A, 1B of positive and sadness. Oh, yeah. I kind of want to share something. It's kind of like some small ball propaganda. So I was talking to my girlfriend the other day. Yeah, for you listeners, sorry, I am taken. And we started talking about LeBron James. And for those that don't know, this is a small market podcast, so we only talk about small market teams. And so my girlfriend, she obviously is big into small markets. So I quizzed her and I asked her who LeBron James plays for. And these were the teams she guessed before getting to the LA Lakers. She guessed the Sacramento Kings.
Nice.
Nice guess.
King James.
I don't like that fit. I don't like that fit.
Don't like that fix. She guessed the Kings, the Denver Nuggets.
The team that she probably watches the most with you.
Yep.
Okay.
Portland Trailblazers.
Wait, did she think Jokic was LeBron James?
They do kind of look alike.
I see it. I could see it.
I was hoping, but no. She just thought maybe the Nuggets. Portland Trailblazers. Little off.
Yeah,
Okay.
just a little bit.
LA
Rebuild.
Clippers.
Close.
She's there. Next one.
Then she went to the Warriors.
Okay.
Almost. Phoenix Suns.
There. There you go.
I like Kevin Durant.
The Baltimore Orioles.
LeBron James do be hitting home runs.
Wow.
And then she finally got to the LA Lakers, and her reasoning is, I completely forgot because I only hear about small market teams.
That's good.
That's a success story for the small ball podcast.
that is exactly what we want. And that's why we made this podcast.
Yeah.
I like it. I like that. She's a keeper.
Yeah. She was like, are you mad at me? I'm like, no, you love small market teams. That's awesome.
To be fair, she also thought that Pat Tillman played for the Diamondbacks.
She did. Well, in her defense, she saw the 42. She saw, because all MLB stadiums have number 42.
I'm familiar, yeah.
Which I've seen Arizona. You think of Pat Tillman, maybe?
Yeah.
Give
Number
her the benefit of the
42.
doubt.
Yep.
Another 42.
ASU legend.
ASU legend.
Cardinal
Arizona.
legend.
Cardinal legend.
Yeah.
Wrong team, though.
Was he actually good at football? Or was it just because he played football and then went and served a country?
He was pretty good. He was pretty good. I wouldn't say he was a Pro Bowler, but he was on a roster, so he's pretty good.
You have to be good if
Yeah.
you're on a roster.
But like, was he on the roster and played, or was he on the roster and
He played. He started.
He started.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, he started.
Arizona legend. Be careful.
Arizona
Well,
legend.
I was just asking questions so I could be informed before.
It's respectful of you. Yeah.
But yeah,
Rest
number
in peace.
42, just for any fans that don't know, it's Jackie Robinson.
Yes.
Just want to make sure people knew that we knew.
Yes.
That's Jackie.
We know that. It's Jackie.
He was with a big market though, so
Yeah,
should probably.
he was. We're Jackie Robinson podcast, but he's a big market guy, so that's all we can say about him.
Our one exception.
Yeah.
Yes,
Jackie Robinson.
It's Jackie Robinson. She also, really quickly, I asked her about Michael Jordan. We have a giant Michael Jordan poster that she sees every time she comes in the house. This was smaller. She said Kings again.
Gosh, this girl loves the Kings.
Miami Heat, New York Knicks, and then she said Indianapolis, and then St. Louis, and then Chicago.
Wow. Let's try something real quick. My wife is behind the camera.
Nice.
Yeah, Perry, come on in.
Perry.
Come on, Perry. Come on in.
Perry, we need you.
This is going to be good. Not planned. Oh, gosh.
This is awesome.
I hope her brothers are watching this. This is going to be embarrassing.
No, she. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
there you
yeah.
go.
All right.
Yep.
Nice.
She's coming
No,
on
it's
straight.
okay. It's
It'll
okay.
be like
This is
a
gonna
couple
be really
seconds.
good.
All right, guys. This is my wife. So obviously,
Yeah, perfect.
and then
this is great
talking to the
podcasting.
mic. So I'm going to name some players and tell me what team they play for.
Okay.
Here, can you just like? Yep.
Ready?
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, this is perfect.
All right.
Looks like you're
Yeah.
proposing to Kyle.
This is how it went, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
What do I do?
So what team does Nikola Jokic play for?
She's looking around the room. Good guess.
Correct. Correct. Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah, that was good. How did you know that?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's it.
What about De'Aaron Fox?
Oh.
Scanning the room again.
The Grizzlies.
What?
Great
Wait,
guess.
Are you serious?
2 for 2.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
never been done before.
Okay, I'm impressed.
Who have you been hanging out with that you know all these
What's going
players?
on? 2 for 2.
Okay. Last one, and most importantly, who does Devin Armani Booker play
The
for?
Suns.
The
Yeah.
Suns.
Nice.
There we go. There we go.
Perry knows ball.
Yeah. That was really good.
It's 3 for
Dang.
3.
I
Yeah.
played basketball in 4th grade.
Nice.
Wow.
You can tell.
I like it.
Tell.
Small market.
Small
Washington.
market
Yeah.
fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Respect
Spokane.
thing.
So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Perry.
Thank you,
Thank you, Perry.
Perry, you got 1 out of the 3 right,
Yeah,
correct?
I was
you got the 2 wrong. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. No, it's okay.
No. It's okay to be happy.
No, it was good. It was really good.
It was sweet. It was innocent.
I was gonna say who's.
It's not like anyone's gonna listen this far into the pod anyway.
Exactly.
No, we're
We're
deep
cutting
in the
all
pod.
this.
Unless we make it an Insta reel, Andy.
Oh no.
Yes, actually, that's a great
She's
idea.
always wanted to be TikTok famous.
No, that's a great idea.
It's a great Insta reel.
That
Renegade.
that's gonna be awesome.
Oh no.
No, you got 1 out of 3.
Yes, the most important one you got.
Last time Janelle was on the pod, she goes, "Is anyone else sweating?" And then raises her hand, and none of us said anything or rose our hand. So the lights are too bright.
You're Jared Allen.
Yeah. All right, man.
All right, that's probably a good place to end it, guys. What a great show.
Fun. It was really
fun.
fun without Trevor.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having me, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, that was pure ball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, just want to point out that Trevor has now missed 8 shows, and I've missed 8 shows, so we're tied.
8 to
I've
8.
never that I've been invited to. I've been 3 for 3. So
Yeah.
Well, you've been on the show 3 times.
3 times.
Sure.
I don't keep track. I mean, I just threw a number out there.
You're 3 for 3.
3 could have been.
It makes
one.
sense. That adds up.
No, that's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
for
That's
you,
really
Kyle.
Every
good.
season. Yeah.
That's great.
Anytime you guys want me,
All right, yeah.
I'm in.
Man.
See you next, what? September?
Yep. Yeah, next
When's the
October.
NBA finals actually?
Uh,
Okay, I'll see you guys. Yeah.
Whoa.
Well,
I
that's-
was
that's
waiting
in
for
May.
a spicy
Well,
comment,
you know,
Kyle.
had to
Let's
throw
end
it
the
in
show
there.
on a little spice. That's right. All right.
We need our revenge.
Yeah, you need it. Oh, we'll get to that at some point, maybe. Well, for our great producer, Andy, Kyle Gehring, Christian Dennis, I'm Skyris. We say so long for now. We will see you next week.
Hey, NBA, Bucks are tampering.